I definitely don't want to break this. Oh, hi there, beautiful friends. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on another video. In today's video, I want to bake myself a birthday cake. It's the 18th of September. My birthday was on the 7th. I've celebrated. I realized I didn't get a birthday cake this year. I don't even care about my birthday that much, and I know that sounds like a lie because of all this fast, but genuinely I use it as an excuse to hang out with friends and upload more. But I'm not that fussed about my birthday. I'm more fussed about the opportunities that arise from it, and one of those is an opportunity to bake a cake. Now, because I was in Barcelona, obviously did not bake myself a cake. I prefer baking than eating cake, which is so bizarre, but it's just the truth of my heart right now. I know what kind of cake I want to make. I know how I want it to look. I don't really know how I'm going to make it. I'm going to write a recipe. I'm going to make it up. I've bought some ingredients already because, by the way, this all happened overnight, and so I just thought I'm going to bake myself a birthday cake tomorrow and just bought a load of stuff. So we've got to follow through with that decision. I don't really have any plans, so there's a good chance I might just make this cake and then just sit down and eat it. But I'm okay with that. I want quite a mature recipe. I'm going for like a lemon and elderflower recipe. I've never made elderflower in a cake before, so who knows how this is going to go. I want it to be really light. I want a whipped cream frosting. So I want that kind of fruity vibe. So that's what I'm going for. I also want to try and do a glaze cake. I don't know if you've seen those cakes, but like they are stunning. I want a mirror glaze gold cake. I don't know what for. I really don't know what for. It's my birthday, so I'm gonna bake if I want to. I'm gonna go to one of my favorite places in the world, Vanilla Valley. It's a local, not that local actually, it's a bit of a drive away, but it is a shop that sells loads of cake goods and just makes me so happy. They have everything, like it's just so much happiness. So I'm gonna go and pick up the stuff that I ordered online from there yesterday. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna come back and bake, and I'm super excited. Can't wait. So this is my outfit of the day. I literally live in this top and skirt. You'll have seen it so many times. I just love this outfit. Super comfortable, super cute. It's a little bag that I got in Barcelona. These sunglasses, which just make me look cool. Urban Outfitters. I just called the shop, and my order is ready to collect. Let's go on a road trip. Alrighty then, let's go get the goods. Just picked up my items, except I didn't. I returned half of them because I had ordered just the wrong items. I want this cake to be gold, and I had ordered stuff that was for spray on colour rather than actual food colouring. Again, the staff, lovely, so unproblematic. Just returned the things I'd ordered online, and then I was able to pick up the other stuff. Even the cake board that I had ordered was so orange gold rather than like a champagne gold. So I returned that, and I got these more neutral coloured golds, these mirror cards, matching the mirror cake. And I'm just so excited. I really want to finish this cake today. Oh, that's a massive van behind me. I am looking in my mirrors, by the way. I really want to finish this cake today, but I also realise, how the heck am I supposed to get out here? It's just onto an actual main road. I also realise that it's probably going to take some time, so yeah, we'll see how we actually get on. How the heck am I, why is someone just come and parked like right beside me? Oh, BRB. Okay, let's get baking my birthday cake. Baking is basically a science experiment, right? You put in a load of chemicals and out comes a beautiful edible piece. I've just been reading up on different types of ingredients and what they actually do within a cake. So I'm gonna really try and make this cake as light and fluffy and moist as possible. So I've just made up this recipe. I've made up this recipe in different amounts, so I might adjust things as we go, but we'll see. I will let you know if I do. First, I've got some butter. I'm using butter, not margarine or stork, just for a higher fat content. I've got about 200 grams of butter here, and I'm going to beat that with my electric standing mixer until it's white and fluffy. I always forget how noisy that is. So the butter is nice and white. Now I'm going to add in 250 grams of caster sugar, and I'm gonna beat that until it's really fluffy because I want to get as much air in at this stage as possible. This is my first time making an elderflower cake and using elderflower flavour. I don't want to. It says to add 1/4 teaspoon to your recipes. Oh, it smells delicious, but I'm just going to taste it. I want to taste it and see if I actually like the flavour. Oh. That is potent. I wasn't expecting that. Wow. Wow, it's a very nice scent that is potent, and they aren't joking when they say 1/4 teaspoon. So I think I'm going to listen to the bottle. I was going to add in a whole teaspoon, but if it says, oh wow, I can feel it in my sinuses. If it says 1/4 teaspoon, I feel like it knows what it's talking about. I'm very glad I tried that, because I was genuinely thinking, maybe I'll add a teaspoon, maybe a tablespoon, but 1/4 it is. I'm just gonna add that to the butter and the sugar, and then I'm gonna add in 50 mils of oil. So switching out some of your butter for some oil, as far as I understand the chemistry of it, can again help reduce the production of gluten in the cake and make it a little bit lighter and softer. If this tastes good, by the way, I'll write up the recipe, so don't worry about remembering all of this. So what I did was I separated the egg yolk from the egg white. So I've got the egg white here, I'm using 3 eggs, and I've just added in the egg yolk to the mixture with the elderflower, the butter, the sugar and the oil. I'm gonna now add in some buttermilk. Buttermilk again is just gonna increase the amount of fluid hopefully in my recipe and just make the cake a little bit more moist. So that the mixture doesn't start to curdle, I'll probably add in like a tablespoon of flour just as I mix it. So for my flour, what I've done is that I've got self-raising flour. I also have corn flour, so I've swapped out 20 grams of the self-raising flour for 20 grams of corn flour, and that just helps again to lighten the cake because it's just like a lighter flour to use. Once I've mixed in the wet ingredients, I'm just going to fold in the flours. I'm going to sieve and fold them in. I'm not going to use an electric mixer on them because that again can really change the consistency of the flour and cause the cake to like be really hard and not moist and not light and fluffy. I think it's because of something to do with the gluten. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'll write it in if I choose to, if I can be bothered to Google it again. And I've had that before. I've overmixed cakes after adding the flour before, and it doesn't get more air in, it just makes them really dense, and it's such a shame. Unwaxed lemon, put some of the zest of the lemon, so a bit of the skin, into a bowl, and then I'm gonna get the juice of the lemon and add it to the mix. I'm gonna wash it first though, because, you know, hygiene. I don't want too much of it, so it's a very loose zesting. I don't want this flavour to be too intense. That's how you do it. I'm going to juice that through the sieve to catch any seeds. To be honest, this is quite a big lemon, so I'm actually just going to put in half at the moment, and then if I feel like it needs more lemon flavour, then I will add that a little bit later. I've got the mix from my electric mixer. Add that to the bowl with the lemon juice and the lemon zest. I love how I'm talking with confidence as though I know what I'm doing. Grab the sieve and I'm just going to sieve in the flour. And there's the corn flour. I wasn't planning to add any baking powder, but I feel like I definitely want to make sure that this cake rises. So maybe I'm just going to add in the tiniest bit. Okay, so this mix is looking a little dry to me. It's not looking like a moist cake recipe. I think I'm going to add in some more buttermilk. Buttermilk, also looking kind of lumpy. It's not going well. Oh, I just remembered I haven't added in the egg whites yet, so that is why. Maybe I shouldn't have added in the buttermilk. Oh, whoops, my bad. What I'm going to do with the egg whites is that I'm actually going to beat them with an electric mixer so that they become nice and white and fluffy, and then I'm going to fold them into the rest of the mix, again to add more air to the mix and hopefully, Lord help me, hopefully make it light and fluffy. I did this before with a red velvet cake for my friend's wedding, and I got so many compliments for the red velvet cake, so yeah, let's hope it works. The egg white is just nice and fluffy. It's all combined. It's honestly a little bit lumpy. I feel like I should have added in the flour in parts. I'm just gonna really quickly just taste the mix to see if it tastes okay, because I have no idea if I have enough sugar, enough flavouring, etc. I feel like it could have more lemon, but I actually don't want to overpower it, and I will be using some lemon curd on the cake, so maybe a subtle lemon flavour is better. I'm going to use these bundt tins. If you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen these when I made my nephew's 3rd birthday cake. And I don't want them to go to waste. Now I remember when I cooked the cakes, I noticed that actually the pattern around was really beautiful, so I'm going to use these. I didn't have an issue with stuff sticking last time, so I'm praying that the cake doesn't stick this time. I'm just going to spray it with some Fry Light spray all over all the sides. I'm going to add the mixture, add in hopefully an even amount to each tin. Oh, it's actually a very small amount of cake mix. Whoops. Should have made more cake. That's okay, it can be a small cake. I mean, at the moment, I'm the only one who's going to be eating it, so. The mix does smell absolutely delicious. It smells really good. Even that out. So much elderflower. How can something so small be so strong? Like the food version of me. I love a bit of raw egg. I've preheated my oven to about 160 degrees, and I'm just going to pop these inside. I put the timer on for 20 minutes just so I don't forget. I'm expecting that to take about half an hour. I think the cakes are done. A toothpick is coming out clean. I'm just going to go ahead and take them out, I think. I hope they don't... This is what they look like. I am just going to let it sit in the tin for a little while, I think. I have started to make the mirror glaze, but this is not an instructional. It's the first time I'm trying this. I will just leave a link to the video of what I'm following. She's super thorough and really informative, and even puts a PDF in the description box. So yeah, I'm not even going to try and explain what's going on. I'll just show you bits and bobs. I was actually able to get all of the ingredients for it from Asda, so it's actually quite relatively accessible. I'm going to try and remove the cakes now, which is a little bit awkward just because of the shape of the pan. So I'm not entirely sure. I definitely don't want to break this. So I'm just going to try and like tease it out. So it's very light and fluffy on the positive side. I think I fixed it, right? Okay, so that was a disaster. On a positive note, it's very light and fluffy, not very sweet. I'm just gonna pretend that that didn't happen. I'm just gonna leave the second one to sit for longer. Maybe if it cools in the pan, it'll hold together better so that when I tip it out, it won't break. Wow, that was pretty heartbreaking. I'm just going to pretend like I didn't just ruin everything and carry on with the mirror glaze. So I'm just following the recipe. So boil the water. 160 grams of water in here. Add in the sugar. Apricot jam, and I'm just going to add that in. So I probably need to make it a little bit hotter so that I actually boil down the apricot jam. Apparently it won't make it taste like apricot jam, it's just there to make it look shinier and more mirror-like, which, you know, I trust this woman. Her cake looked amazing, so I shall not question, I shall simply do as told. Washed my hands, and now I'm just going to add in the pre-soaked gelatin, which is looking pretty exciting. That's fun and interesting. I'm trying to stir it really flat because I know that one of the things they say that you shouldn't do is add any air into the mixture. That's all mixed in. I'm just going to pour it in on top of the white chocolate like she says to. It is like apricot looking, but I do want more of a gold look, so I'm going to try and neutralize it by adding in some white food colouring. Still not the whitest, but it is a lot better. I hope the cake is now cool enough for me to try again. I feel like when the other one fell, it was quite predictable. So basically, because it's so far down in the tin, there's a long way for it to fall. So if one bit gets loose before the other, then that bit will fall first, putting tension on the cake and splitting it. So it should hopefully hold together better now. But also I'm just going to try and use the other tin to just like ease how quickly it releases, if that makes sense. Oh, Lord help me. So just kind of ease it. I think it might actually be stuck to the pan, you know, guys. Oh my goodness. I did it. I did it. Oh, praise the Lord. That was not easy. That was not easy at all. I just need to freeze it before I add the glaze. I'm scared to even move that. Oh, from what I've seen online, they usually just do mirror glazes with mousse cakes, so very soft cakes. But obviously this isn't a mousse cake. So I'm a little bit concerned that any crumbs or like even slight non-perfections are gonna show up. So I'm just gonna brush off a few of the crumbs that I can before I freeze it. Okay, so it's like an hour and a half later. I left the gelatin to cool, but I think I made it too cool because then it went really thick. So I strained it and I heated it and added a little bit of water, and it looks a better consistency now. It doesn't really look like it's going to be that shiny, which is kind of sad. I did add in some of that champagne gold food colouring, but it just didn't come out at all. And so then I added in some of this koala food colouring, and to be honest, it does match, I just don't like it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and drip this over the broken frozen cake. Hopefully it's frozen by now. And just see how it goes and use that as a bit of a practice run. It's out of the freezer. I don't know if it's completely frozen, but it is kind of cold. I need to sit it on something that will allow the colour to drain off. Still broken. Don't know why I was half hoping that the cake would just like freeze itself back together, if that is even a thing. Okay, so that does not quite look like the adverts at all. In fact, it looks quite miserable and crap, to be completely honest. I feel like that probably just needs 2 layers. So, as suspected, I probably should have waited before attempting to re-drip, but I didn't. I was impatient. I guess it's not completely tragic for a first attempt. I've just made like a whiter glaze, and when I say made, I've used the other half of the glaze and added a little bit more white to it. It looks a better consistency. I did put the cake back in the freezer, so I'm just going to go and grab it out of the freezer and try and do a second layer. To be honest, it is a little bit glimmery from the first layer. It is a little bit reflecty. It basically just doesn't look good enough, so I'm going to try again. And luckily the glaze seems to have glued the cake back together just a little bit, so hopefully I can get away with placing it on this bowl and glazing it. Okay, that's gone a bit better that time. That's gone much better, way better than the last time. And honestly, this cake I actually plan on turning upside down and not really using anyway, so it doesn't really need to look perfect. I'm just going to confess now that I was a bit slow when it came to glazing. For some reason, I thought that I could control the glaze by putting on the colours where I wanted them separately. But that didn't work, because the trick of mirror glazing is that as you pour on the gelatin mix and it hits the cold cake, the gelatin sets. So as I was pouring on different amounts of different colours at different times, they were setting differently, and I was getting these kind of gloopy drips, and it just was not working. This was okay for me in the end because I was pouring pouring the mixture onto a sponge cake, I actually needed to do a number of layers anyway. If you're pouring onto like a white mousse cake, then chances are whatever colour you've put in the gelatin will actually in the glaze mix, will actually stand out quite well. But I needed layers anyway, so I just used all those layers to actually learn how to do this well. And the trick to doing it well is exactly how that lady says to do in a video. So eventually I just accepted, and I put more than one colour in one jug, and I did one very fast pour over the cake, and that helped me to get a nice smooth distribution with a beautiful kind of marble effect. And then I added on some of the glitter dust, which honestly I'm not a fan of. I definitely prefer the spray-on gold glitter that I got from Asda. But yeah, that just worked so much better for me. So if you're doing this for the first time, just realise that temperature change as the glaze hits the cake is very important. And even though it might look wasteful to kind of pour it all on so that it all runs off, you know, that's what you have to do to get a really smooth finish. And you can reuse the glaze, so you can collect it in the pan and reuse that, which is what I was able to do. So I ended up making like 3 lots of the glaze mixture and I have some in the freezer ready for another cake. Okay, so I think that's as good as we're gonna get. That is like 3 layers. It doesn't look too bad actually on second look. Not too bad. There is a lump there though. I can't tell if it's a lump or a bubble. I'm just making the whipped cream. I actually already made a batch, but I overmixed it and it like turned into cheese. So I literally had to start all over again. I'm kind of rushing now, to be honest, because I've told a friend that I'm making a cake, and so I'm going to take her some, so I need to do this quickly. Believe it or not, this was actually my first time using a whipped cream frosting to sandwich and hold up a cake. Now I was really scared because of all the things that I'd read that it was just going to melt as soon as I tried to do this, but that was just not true. It's not like the kind of whipped cream that you put on a hot chocolate. I think the fact that my cakes were still semi-frozen did help a bit given how warm it was in the room, but I did just spread on a nice thick layer onto the base of the cake. This is the first cake, by the way. The one that fell apart is upside down and on the bottom, and then I added in some lemon curd and then piped some around the edge and just pushed the lemon curd over the edge so it looked like a nice little drip effect and just looked so delicious once sandwiched together. I'll put the recipe to this somewhere, but basically in the whipped cream I've just got some mascarpone cheese and some icing sugar, which really helped it to stay a little bit stiff. I only got like 1 drip as it started to get too warm in the room, but other than that it lasted really well. And I just sandwiched the 2 cakes together, and oh my goodness, it was delicious. The whipped cream and the lemon curd, so delicious. Oh my gosh, I did it! Oh my god! I did it! I did it. Carrot gold. So I'm just gonna try and add that to the cake as well, although I don't actually think it needs it, to be honest. So it looks like a giant donut, and I kinda love it. I think that looks perfect. I can't leave it out too long to take pictures because it's just so warm in here, and I don't want everything to drip off. Okay, screw it. I moved it into the sun just to see how it glistened, and oh my goodness, it is so beautiful. Okay, so I do feel like this whole thing would just be alive the devil if I didn't light the candle and sing happy birthday to myself 12 days late. Honestly, I don't really care. This is what I wanted to make. It looks exactly how I want it to look. Happy birthday to me. Nah, that's just too much. Cool. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want the recipe, depending on how it tastes, I'll let you know. If you want the recipe, let me know. Don't forget to give this video a huge thumbs up and leave me a comment letting me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Sorry for the rush. Bye.